one that is listed here, the report. Did you all get the updated report? Okay.
Yes, and
It
thank
just
you.
was a few points that Deb made that there were just some like minor edits, had to do with editing. But all right, so a project under the Town of Kingsbury Planning Board consideration for site plan review approval for the conversion of a Christmas tree farm to a commercial space for a seasonal event. And so the project is within 500 feet of State Route 4, and there are 3 agricultural operations in Ag District 7. The proposed project is zoned RA1A and is for an indoor-outdoor family-oriented seasonal event to operate 6 weeks annually from mid-November to end of December on a 127-acre property that was a Christmas tree farm. There are 2 existing buildings, and they're going to be retrofitted for a Christmas village and for indoor, and then adjacent to the second one, outdoor kiddie rides for those under 2 feet high, respectively. The project proposal features the construction of a 1.45 mile long 2-way drive-through with secondary loops along which total approximately 300 trees that will be lit, an estimated 9,000 lights, and with lighted displays in between. And then they want to add in the long term some sales of cut and replanted tree, like a Christmas tree farm. So going back to its original use. The traffic pattern is for entrance and egress from Stone Schoolhouse Road, with a Hartman Road egress used only for an emergency. And there's proposed a main parking area and an overflow crushed stones parking area along Hartman Road. And in the project description, there was no indication if these automobile construction areas or if the road is going to be paved or not. So I just made notes for make it easy for me to remember what I wanted to say. And there's likely to be a substantial increase in traffic if they're opening this as a seasonal event for as many people as they can attract. Their questions might be impacts from lights and ag impacts and anything else that the group can think of. And I just wrote some accessory notes like, are they going to play music, Christmas music? There's nothing in the EAF that indicates a connection to public-private water supply or wastewater. They talked about porta potties, or they did not talk about porta potties, so that's not addressed. Any impacts of stormwater with all the new surfaces that may be created, especially if paved onto adjacent properties, maybe, maybe not. There's some adjacency to at least 21 residential properties in addition to farm operations. The planning board determined that a use permit does not apply. Okay, so I think that summarizes the project pretty well, but perhaps I'll bring up the image with the buffer. So if you just bear with me for a sec, I'll find it. There's Kingsbury axe throwing high def Kingsbury tree farm. And there that is. And then sharing. And here we go. Can you see the screen or 2 screens there? Is it visible?
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, I want to find the buffer page here. Did I create a buffer page? Yes, I did. Now I'm going to try and zoom in. View, zoom. Let's try 150. No, that will be too much. 125. So the areas that are outlined in blue and have little red dots in it, those are the ag parcels. And the area that's kind of purpley is the buffer, and the property is therein, the larger property, and you can kind of see the tree patterns in that area. And it's yours.
Pamela, they're abandoning the use of the tree farm. However, it's stated that they are going to sell trees.
In the future, they have a vision for selling trees.
Okay. Also, this is listed as a site plan review, but I don't see a site plan.
I guess this is their version.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Site plan.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is, I think, supposed to represent the rides,
Oh, that's like the route. Okay.
the route and the rides. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, their application was complete. Yeah. They have-
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think all of your comments are, I think they make sense.
So is this a matter of local concern?
How's where are they coming off of Route 4? They're coming off of Route 4 right there at Stone Schoolhouse.
Yeah. Do you see my little arrow right there? And then they're coming in here, and then they're gonna loop in like this, which actually I can go back to the,
And the hours of operation are basically going to be during dark, or are they planning on having this thing open during business hours and into the dark? I didn't see anything about that.
yeah, I didn't see anything about that either. Hours of
It doesn't get dark early at that time of year, but
right. So. that
You know,
would-
I guess, do they have like a queuing line? You know, if you do have a, a lot of traffic that's gonna come off, 10 to 15 cars at a time, do they have a queuing area where it's not obstructing any of our roads?
That's a really good point.
Where are they coming in again?
They're coming in off of State Route 4 and Stone Schoolhouse Road. I don't know, is my arrow visible there? We're in kind of.
So they're coming in right there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would maybe a comment to ensure they have a, traffic plan. Or
yeah, the question is how many cars can they absorb on that property
Mhm.
before it would start to back out? That's a
Well,
fairly
I'm
rural
think-
road fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that light. Those lights in Malta off of Route 9. I mean, they have a whole there's a lot of cars that back up there, and they have like a whole kind of, I guess it's like an access road almost before you get in, because if they're charging admission, they're going to take a couple minutes per car.
that's right.
Yeah.
They're charging admission here too, like $12 or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in experience with the Washington County Fair last year and their setup, they did have, at peak times, especially closer to the Christmas time and that Christmas week, they probably had at some points 15 to 20 cars backed up. But I mean, they had plenty of room because it's the fairgrounds.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking too, that I was wondering what the situation was there, but then I also thought, oh, but they probably accommodate that specifically because that's the nature of their event venue there.
It's a great idea. And since Laura Oswald is on, Laura, if they do end up moving forward, maybe there's an opportunity to pursue them into doing some sort of haunted experience. And then we can tie it into the haunted.
Haunted Christmas trees.
Yeah, well, they're starting in
There you
mid-November. They
go.
go back 1 month until October, and then they have, scary guys coming out of the trees. I mean, that would help us people promote them even more.
Well, we did actually, I think, or I did speak to somebody who is from California, called in asking about who to talk to because she's bought property in Fort Anne on Route 146 to do that very thing, like an elaborate haunted we'll be seeing that eventually, maybe. So,
So Pamela, if Deb and, sorry, there's an echo here because Pamela's next to me. I would suggest taking a serious look at the traffic impact to Route 4 and what traffic mitigation measures might be necessary. It probably would be wise to take a look at it at least.
I think Pamela's on the right track about noise too, because Green Acres Lane there is a subdivision on the left
mhm.
side of the thing. There are houses in there. I don't think they had any amplified noise when it was a tree farm. I cut my Christmas tree there a couple of years. I assume they're going to use low-powered FM transmitter or something for cars to go through like they do. I think that's what they did at the fair too. But if not, then the folks over there in that little subdivision might be unhappy. So I think the question about noise is a good one. I assume it's addressed, but there's just nothing in here about it.
Agreed with Roger on that. Yeah, I mean, I would expect they're going to use the FM transmitter as well, but better to vet it out.
So is this one case where we're a matter of local concern with conditions? Like we usually don't go down any other road than matter of local concern, but it seems like there might be some intermunicipal impacts here.
I think it sounds like if traffic is a real concern on those roads, I think it might be.
And Allison, do you want to describe the difference between conditions and comments?
Conditions are
Matters.
essentially requirements, right?
Right.
I would say, and I don't know, do you put the potentially putting a traffic plan into the landowner's land or landowner's hands for additional approval, or is that something you want to address, Deb?
Can you restate that question? I didn't follow you.
So something like a traffic plan, or how are they going to manage the overflow of traffic, or maybe a potential backup? Do you want to maybe request additional information from the landowner, like a traffic plan, or maybe even, further plans, like what is the noise and how are you gonna, how maybe ask for further information? Or is that something that you or someone in your office, Deb, could work with them to maybe talk about traffic and how they might better accommodate that on the parcel?
Well, when this was a tree farm, traffic wasn't an issue. I remember going there as well, and I don't remember traffic being an issue. So I'm guessing that it's just likely that they didn't convey to us how much parking they had. So, and as far as noise is concerned, do I have to worry about noise?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going off a little bit, but just traffic in particular, it seems like it's the issue, one of, I guess, the main issue here as far as this board is concerned. And it's certainly a different situation than it was as a tree farm, or potentially could be. So yeah, do we ask for more information before a decision can be made, or?
Yeah, I don't think they clearly conveyed how they were going to do that. So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So is that the motion, Allison? Motion for a local concern with conditions specific to the parking?
I think if we do conditions, we have to have specifics.
I
So
think maybe you can do it with a comment that the parking and vehicle movement is adequately addressed or something like that in with the local board, with the cooperation maybe of the superintendent because of that state road. But you just want to make sure they can absorb the peak volume and you're not getting a backup, because Stone Schoolhouse Road you don't want to back up onto that.
Mm-hmm.
Roger, you cut your trees over there previously. When you were there cutting as a tree farm, how many cars? I'm sure they had a little parking lot, or was it parking along the side of the road?
Yeah, no, they had plenty of parking, and it was also a daytime operation.
Right.
Completely different, right? So it was a cut your own kind of thing. So you went out there, you got in the wagon, you went out, you found your tree, you cut it, you brought it back, they packaged it up and you took it with you. So this is almost the reverse. Again, that's why I asked about hours of operation. Now it's going to be dark on a narrow, it's a narrow road.
Mhm.
It's
And
quite
not everybody-
possible.
Yeah, not everybody's going to come from Route 4. I came from the opposite side, and it's pretty windy as I came off of 41. So there's a couple back roads to get to that way too. So it's going to be a completely different situation. So I think you want to make sure that it's not going to back up onto that road. You know, it was a series of, you didn't stay. You went, you did your thing, you left.
Right.
Now they're looking for people to stay, number one. So they have to absorb that traffic. And then they're going to have lines, like you said at the fair. There's going to be a line. The question is, where's it going to go?
Right.
And did they have enough on-site capacity to absorb that? Just like when we did like a mask handout here, and the problem was we didn't have enough of our own property to absorb that line, so it ended up backing up onto 4 in both directions. It was pretty bad. We were all the way into Hudson Falls because we didn't have enough corral space, for lack of a better term, to put all those people when they came.
Yeah, actually, in my opinion, I think that a lot of this, well, I guess this traffic flow issue should be addressed by a site plan. Like they could show us where the admissions would be charged. Would it be farther into the property so people could pull in? So Pam and Laura, is it an option for us to not make a decision and request further information? Because a lot of these questions, I think we just have a lot of questions.
So I before I answer that, Allison, one other question would be, is it a loop? Like, are they driving in one place and out another?
It's
Or
a
is the
two-way-
entrance and egress at the same point?
It's a two-way street that they're going to put in onto the property. So it's a street with loops off of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so entrance and egress is at same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That could be an issue. You know, with the fairgrounds, they have their entrance and egress in 2 separate spots. Made it easier for people to get in and out and not have too much traffic congestion at all. Can we ask for further information, Laura, specific to, site plan review?
I think that we are allowed to.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's actually part of the condition, isn't it? We're just, as soon as you get us additional information, we'll review it, make a final decision.
Yeah.
So the motion would be a more detailed site plan review with emphasis on traffic patterns.
Okay.
I think so.
Motion by Laura on that. Second by Allison.
Yes.
Laura can't make motion.
Wait a minute, I can't make a
sorry.
motion. I'm not a real person.
Thanks, Roger. Allison, I'll put that on you.
I'll make the motion to request additional information with regards to traffic patterns and also, let's see, the other comments, including impacts from light and noise impacts. Oh, I'd like to also know about the bathroom situation.
Right,
point,
noise and bathrooms. And hours?
Oh, hours of operation would be, yeah.
An hour.
That's not in the seeker.
Oh, let's take a second look there.
It probably isn't actually.
I remember seeing it, but that, I can miss it.
No, I don't see it.
I think it's important to note that the general consensus seems to be that it's a great project. We just have a few questions about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are probably details that they have, I'm sure they've worked them out, but we just need to feel more comfortable before we move forward.
So we need to vote.
All right, well, we have a motion by Allison and second. Did you second, Deb? Yep. So Deb Donahue seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Carries.
All right. second project today is again under the Town of Kingsbury Planning Board consideration for site plan review and approval for 72 Harrison Avenue for an axe throwing facility. The reason for the GML review is 500 feet of right of way of County Route 32. That was one of my corrections. I had 34 or something. Anyway, it's Burgoyne Avenue, and it's across from the bus parking for the Hudson Falls School District.
But this is not a county road,
It's not a county road. Oh, okay. It's a state road?
State Route 32.
State. So I still got it wrong. Okay. I was always wondering about that one.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It changes right at Cumbies.
Yeah, I never quite understood. Anyway, the proposed project is to open a recreational axe throwing facility consisting of 2 full stalls with 2 lanes, each to accommodate 4 to 6 people, and 2 half stalls of 1 lane, each to accommodate 1 to 2 people, for a total of 18 people in the facility at one time, for either 30 or 60 minutes of throwing. The property is zoned commercial 1A because it's along that corridor, Burgoyne corridor. Construction includes a paved 6-car parking lot with the option to expand. So that would be right along, the parking area was proposed right along Harrison Avenue. Hours of operation, this time this was put in, it was total of 35 hours per week, with hours extending 3 of those days to 11 p.m. The other day is 6 p.m. And then the retrofit of existing structure includes a bathroom. The notes that I made, there an increase of traffic onto Hartman Road? It might be no different than, well, definitely no different than the grocery store down the street. EAF indicates connection to water and sewer, maybe a new connection, because in the Washington County GIS, it seems that the residential property has private water and sewer. Parking lot construction could change stormwater pattern. I don't know. EAF question 17. Project not within, I've confirmed that the project was not within 500 feet of the village boundary. It's farther than that. Parcel is in a mix of residential with commercial, industrial, utility, public service down Harrison Ave. There's some National Grid structure, and across the street there's a collision center. There's one neighbor that's 32 feet adjacent on Harrison Avenue, and in the site plan description there is no screening proposed. But anyway, that's beyond the intermunicipal, but I just wanted to make draw the picture, and I think I'll share pictures of the site plan for axe throwing with y'all. Get that up there. I can see that all right. Whoops. Little tiny blue outline is where the property is, and you can see the central school across the way. And then there's some pictures going into Harrison Avenue and the white building. And the the secondary structure that they want to retrofit is next to this white building. It's on the right of it. And or actually, no, that's the residence. That's 32 feet away. This is the structure on the left. Here it is again, and that's the residence in beige. Yeah.
Their residence is the beige residence.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering. Yep, that's the property there.
All right, because I was wondering, I'm looking at the GIS myself here, and I'm like, that's really going to interfere with that person who's got a tree and some foliage there, expanding their parking lot.
Oh, expanding their parking lot, and with sites to even expand it more if needed. Now there is parking across the way. I don't know if they have a relationship with the collision place or not, but when you look straight on at the collision place, it is a long rectangular parking lot there as well.
But they're currently not proposing to expand the parking lot, right?
No, not currently.
They could, yeah.
Right. They want to be able to, but so here's their site plan drawing, and there's the paved parking and then
Mhm.
unpaved available parking. So I guess maybe they are proposing it. Here's 100 feet of it, right close to that tree.
So are they gonna have, I mean, that parking looks pretty tight. They're gonna have pullouts onto,
Yeah, it's gonna be
Burgoyne?
pullouts, so people might be, oh, not onto Burgoyne.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the
It'll be on Harrison.
It'll be
Oh, well,
backing
onto
out,
here, okay,
either forward or backing out of that. Yeah,
okay. Now. And so the house, are there other residential properties besides the,
there's one here 100 feet
Okay.
behind it. And it also looks like there's some screening, there's some plantings here. Behind, over, if you can see my cursor kind of moving around there. Next to a shed.
Mhm.
There's their leach field. So really, like, this is some distance from that with a lot of structure in between. Then the collision place across the way. This residential house here is the closest thing. And the way the stalls are, almost wonder if, I won't say that, but they're going to be throwing axes toward it. Okay. But, and then here's the restroom, another half stall here. Employee entrance.
I guess the major thing that strikes me is the 11 PM closing time. So close to some residential uses. And I know it's a commercial area, but none of the other commercial uses seem to be late night uses.
Mhm.
And I know they're not proposing it, but oftentimes X throwing places are in conjunction with other late night uses.
Yeah, the other piece with axe throwing is, are they going to be applying for even a beer and wine license? Is
Right.
that, I mean, I know how much it costs to build one of these places out. I have an axe throwing guy here at the mall. It's where this is located. I'm not going to get into business ethics or business, but this is it's their decision. But I think there's some pieces there, 11 o'clock at night. I think you got more than just the immediate adjacent resident. I think across the street in front of the BB's collision, you have another residential house there. You have a residential house across the street on Burgoyne. So I think there's a lot of those are all residential pieces right around there. I know it's commercial area. I get that, but why'd this come in front of us? Because it's off of the state road within 500 feet.
State road. Yep, state road.
Well, I guess because it's across from the school, the beer and wine would come under some scrutiny there.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all very good questions, but they're questions for the local board.
Matter of local concern.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll make that motion. It's a matter of local concern. I mean, I think it would be helpful for the local board if we include those comments. And I'm sure, I hope they're noticing the neighbors to ensure that they're aware of these, proposed change in times and whatnot.
I'm sure the second. Who seconded that?
Deb, I think I'm the only other one who can.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Deb. All right. No other further questions or comments. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Who put the motion out? I'm sorry.
Allison
I did.
did.
Allison.
Did.
Madison. Matter of local concern with
Comment.
a couple comments.
Noticing neighbors and considering the time, are those the 2 points?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think the alcohol issue is another, they need to address that with the local board.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. All stuff that isn't intermunicipal, but it just is maybe useful for the board.
Mhm.
Okay. Third one. Page 1, page 2, page 3. Fort Edward. Project under Town of Fort Edward Zoning Board consideration for a use variance. Applicant owns the church. It's an old Methodist church on State Route 4. And it's the purpose of the review is it's within a 500 right away of State Route 4, Champlain, New York State, Champlain Canal and Lock 6 facility, public building, the fire station down in Fort Miller, and a recreational park. So actually, this was fun for me for the first time. There were lots of reasons for this one to come to the planning agency, just about everyone. The proposed project is to renovate the church and attached parish house into a family residence to include an in-law apartment. Did I unscreen? Yeah, okay. And an art studio and wood shop. No change in the footprint is proposed. Property is zoned M1 industrial zone. Comments? No. Well, I've listed all the 500 feet of New York Power Authority, Town of Fort Edward Park, Fort Edward Fire Department, and also there's a brook passing through the north parcel, but I have no idea if it's county owned or not. Parcel is susceptible to severe flooding. That is one of the problems with and why the church ended up leaving. 500 feet of just as a note that it's on the trail, Champlain Canalway Trail, Empire State Trail. Northeast corner of the parcel is in a federal wetland, but it's very small. Burden of proof is of unnecessary hardship is on the applicant. I didn't find that addressed all that well in their application. Church is not defined by, so there's I don't know which church it is, but the church that is existing didn't seem to be defined by M1, which was created in 1963. So I didn't look to see the age of the building, but I also noted that there's these, the entire village of Fort Edward is in Fort Miller or Hamlet of Fort Miller is in M1. So it seems like it's pretty consistent, to have a residential in this industrial zone throughout the entire neighborhood. The feasibility wetland permits is something, that was something that Laura brought up, is she was concerned about the feasibility of obtaining wetland permits. And then there is residential ag across east side of Route 4. So that's my summary there. And let me get that image up. Okay, here it is, sharing again. Pictures. See the buffering and the parcel here. There's Route 4, there's the Lock Road and Fort Miller Road here. And I just wanted to visualize the M1 zoning down there. You can see there's it's tiny. Do you want me to make it larger? But there's a little red square around the property, and you can see how the whole area is M1 zoning. Picture.
So is the property, the entire property in M1? You couldn't see it from that picture.
Yeah, I'll make it bigger for you.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I mean, I just can't tell it is.
It'll show better this way. There you go. So yeah, the entire property is. It's that little that thing that has looks like a little triangle there.
All right, what's M1?
M1 is industrial zone. And
So that means you can only do industrial stuff there?
yes, that was the original zoning from 1963. And in 1987, there was an addendum added, but it was that most of that addressed C1. So let's see.
So do the other residential uses in this area have a use variance, or were they pre-existing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
And I imagine pre-existing, this is a historic district, the
Mhm.
church, Fort Miller Church and all, it's all very historic, including a cemetery, everything is. And so I imagine that it was pre-existing non-conforming, grandfathered, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I know that there was a mill here, and the mill park is where the mill, and actually that structure is cordoned off with fence. There's a dam and there's and that served the mill. A lot of interesting archaeological stuff there. You can see that special uses does not include living. And a lot of times the law is written so that if you're going to change the use, except the church had the rector, rectory, or I don't know that they called it that. But the parish house, which I believe the minister lived in. So there is a history of human living on the property.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the proposal seems out of character with the area. There are other residential uses there. Besides some of the practicalities that seem to come up, which, will be, I guess, mostly an issue for the property owner. I think this probably is a matter of local concern. I mean, maybe they should think about if there is historical value to the property that they want to try to maintain, but that's, again, that's a local concern.
Yeah, I didn't see any intermittent, so it's just a very interesting case.
Yeah.
And worth taking a good look at, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Absolutely.
Bob, you had a comment?
Yes, this is a very historical structure, actually. That's the place where I took my hunter training class in 1962. So I think probably just based on that, you ought to protect it forever.
Right, so a
So
matter of
also, I wanted to add, the comment that I had made to Pamela is that if that area is subject to severe flooding, they really ought to have a conversation with codes about the feasibility of an OC permit, because what about septic? But I mean, again, it's local concern, but you hate to see somebody spend a lot of money and then find that they're not going to be able to get an occupancy permit.
That's true. I mean, even right in their application, they said there was a severe flood recently, so they have to redo the floors. So, I mean, again, yeah, practicality, that's going to fall on the homeowner or the property owner.
And their own self-created hardship kind of.
Yeah, that's a good point, Laura.
Yeah, our code is actually operating in the capacity of the town. In that case, it's a county department, but it's actually operating on behalf of the town at that point. So it is still a local concern in terms of within that town. And they have a lot to think about, but I'm not sure that that's our purview.
So
matter of local concern with comments. As put by Allison,
Second.
second by Deb. All in favor, say by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. All right, you had some others, Pam.
Okay, no, well, these are the notices from APA for their written comment period. Minor project public notice for town of Putnam. We've seen this in the April 22 PA meeting. It's been conditionally approved at this point. I won't go over it unless anybody really wants me to review or read that what it is, but major project public notice, application completed, and this we saw in October 21. And we didn't have comments for either of them. So, and then public notice, application completed, town of Putnam, Hutton Square Road, designation resource management, section 9, block 1, parcel 9, construction of 2 single-family dwellings and a barn. So those are the 3 APA notices. And then the town of Kingsbury sent a notice of lead agency for their The planning board in April adopted a resolution designating itself as lead and agency for a solar system project, Borrego solar system, for a 5 megawatt ground mounted solar array at 67 Hillview Drive. So they just wanted us to know, and it's a good place to state notices that come in that way. Oh, I just wanted to have, it's very minor, but the agricultural data statement, Todd Hummenson from Town of Kingsbury, just he sent in with the Christmas tree farm, the ag data statement, and just he said that he was just wanted to clarify that he didn't have to have all the signed letters before he sent the referral into us, because and I told him I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure I'm right. So I don't think we need all the landlord, because he said that's a time concern, like then that could put things under a time pressure or a time problem. So I said, no, I think that it's just that we have the ag statement so we can see the picture fully.
Yeah, I think that's right. Just and a verification that.
Yeah. So I just told him I'd verify it with the planning agency. So, very good. So that's it for our day today.
So we can have our meetings online. I was late because I walked down there. I thought we had to go to meetings. I'm so confused. I know where we have these meetings.
You're not alone where the meetings are, but to date, the situation is that we can have them both virtually and online. And I think Governor Hochul signed something that extends open meeting laws as we have been experiencing them during the pandemic until 2024 or something. And that in fact, the law was meant to expand it. I just heard.
Really? 24?
Let me see. I have.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Are we meeting virtually next month too?
Yeah, we'll do
All right.
this way. But the option is that people can come from the public. So if they were, I'll just have to figure out either to have them in my office or to run upstairs and be in the meeting room with them. But
Not so fast on that. I'd have to see that, Pamela. Otherwise, my understanding is that starting like the 15th of June, we're back to having in-person meetings unless you have extraordinary circumstances.
Oh, okay.
That was the new
county
sign. So
Okay.
unless there's an executive order extending this further, which I don't think there is, or I haven't seen it, you're going to have people, you're going to have a quorum present in a public place.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
When does the order,
Confusing too.
when does the order expire, Roger?
I believe it's June 15th. I think that's what the board's operating on.
Okay, so our next meeting will be in person.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. No, I probably ought to plan for it to be in person. Okay.
Yeah.
And unless somebody has extraordinary circumstances, in which case they can come in and then, Allison is in Lake George. I don't think is an extraordinary circumstance. I wish it was, but that's
I also live closer, so yeah.
Okay, that's why and darn, I don't want to make that drive all the way over to Fort Edward is not an extraordinary circumstance.
Yeah.
Either. So, I think we ought to plan on having it in a public place and probably reserving the second floor classroom. And then there doesn't have to be any Zoom if everybody's here.
Right.
So just a notice and opportunity for the public to attend that in-person meeting, if that's the case. So unless I hear something otherwise, I think that's what we ought to plan on for the next meeting.
Thank you for
Sounds
clarifying that.
Thanks, Roger.
And Pamela, if you know something different, I'd love to hear it because that would solve.
I'll send you the email that I got
That'd be great.
from LGT training person. She
All right,
sent it
excellent.
Today and yeah,
Because it's a very dynamic
it
situation.
seems that way.
in terms of that.
Kind of like we're on a boat or something and the water's like.
So I'm always interested in more input, but that my understanding is that's the way we're sitting right now. So
Okay.
we should all plan on seeing each other's lovely faces at the next one.
Well, I look forward to it.
Okay.
All right, thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.